welcome to episode 3, and in this episode I'll be showing you how to put the walls on this house. And so let's get started, because this is going to be a long video. Alright, well the first thing you're going to want to do is mark the walls out on your floor. Now that's going to be easy for me, because it's very simple. But we do have some interior walls here, and if you drew out plans, then this should be easy. And so if I could find it here, I'm gonna get my ruler and really just copy the measurements from here onto here. It's as simple as that. And so there's gonna be a porch here in the bottom right corner, and there's gonna be no walls around the porch. It's gonna be exposed. And so I'm gonna pick the nicest looking corner. Now see how crappy this side here looks, how it's all, I had to cut these pieces a little bit, and right here looks really crappy, and it does right here too. This is the only side that really looks nice. That's fine, because the wall's going to go on top of here, and that part's going to get covered up anyway. So your edges here don't really matter, as long as there's going to be a wall on top of it. But I would say the nicest looking corner would probably be this one right here. And so I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to put the house like this, and I'm going to go ahead and start measuring. So from the edge, this wall is, what is this, 4 inches in. So let's go ahead and measure 4 inches. So I'll put this at the bottom, and we'll put a mark at 4 inches. And we'll go up here and put a mark at 4 inches. And then we'll draw a line. Now don't draw the line too dark. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, because I'm going to draw it a little bit light. Alright, so I'm going to draw a line there. And the other one is going to be right in the middle here, so it's going to be 3 inches up. So I'm going to go ahead and put my wall on this side of the line. Alright, so I'm going to draw X's here, because we only have one line, and this stick has width to it. So it has to go on one side of the line. It's not just going to go right on top. And so we're going to put X's on the side of the line that we want it to go on. And then you could darken the line a little bit if you want. Now we're going to need to measure our doors and windows onto here. And it's important that we get this right. So if you watched episode 1, where I rambled on about this, I said when we find where doors and windows are, we measure to the center of them. And then we look at how wide the door or window is, and we measure out from the center. And so this is going to help us out here. We know that the center is 1.5 inches from the edge, and so I'm going to go ahead and go 1.5 inches, put a mark, and perfectly right in the center. That's awesome. Alright, and how wide did we want the windows? Let's see here. We wanted the windows to be 1.5 inches wide. And so 0.7, so why am I going to decimals? It should be 3/4 of an inch in either direction, because 3/4 plus 3/4 is 1.5, and so that makes a 1.5 inch window. So we're going to put a mark there, and a mark at 1.5. Okay. And so there we are. We have, I'm going to make these lines a little bit longer. That is going to be the width of our window, alright? And so I'm going to go ahead and mark all the other windows to how I have them measured. Alright, so I went ahead and I did that, and there's a window here, 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 and a door here, and then there's a solid back wall. And so our next step is to frame the walls. Now I'm going to do this wall here first, just because it is a normal wall with nothing on it. And so what you're going to want to do is put the house to the side and get a flat surface. Now I'm going to show you a little tool that you can make though first. Alright. So take a stick and cut it. Probably get 2. Cut them in half. and just glue them together. Don't use too much glue, you'll waste it. And this is a little tool I made. And when we build the walls, all the sticks are gonna be on their sides like that, and not all of the sticks can stay standing like that. And so we'll use this, if this even stands, we'll use this to lean the sticks up against. Alright? And so that's a little helpful hint, or whatever. Alright, so this wall is gonna go right here. And so you're going to need to get two pieces that are straight. Your top plate and your bottom plate. Alright, so these two are nice and straight. And so I'm going to stand one piece like that. And that one can stand on its own, so I'm just going to leave it there. Or not. Get another stick that's straight. And put it on the very corner, on the very edge. And then do the same thing on the bottom. You're going to want to make sure you're doing this on a flat surface. Doing this on the floor of your house may not be the best idea because the floor may not be perfectly flat. Alright, so just keep that in mind. But, you know, you can do whatever. And so I've got that there. It's leaning a little bit, but that's okay. Just put a little bit of glue. You can put a little bit of glue there. And we're going to let that dry before we move on. And so that's not 100% dry, but that's alright. We're going to move on now. And put this piece. Alright, so that's about dry. And now you're going to do, for a normal wall that is one stick long like this, a full wall, I like to do five sticks. So do two on the outside, one in the middle, and then two there. Now, if you can, and if you don't get frustrated easily, you can try to do all three at once, but it's not easy. Alright, so those are about dry. So what you're going to do is flip it over. Once you're finished with the wall, you're going to flip it to the other side and glue on the other sides of them, because we only glued it on the other side. Alright, now we're ready to stand the wall. Alright, and so this is where you need to be careful, because it's not like real life where you can put the wall there and then make sure it's right and then kind of put it in the right spot and then nail it down. No, this needs to be, once you put the glue down and you press this down, it's there, it's not coming off. If you try to even pry this off, it'll rip the floor right off. So you gotta be very careful. Make sure you're doing it right. Alright, so I know what I'm doing now. Put the glue down. It should line up perfectly with the edge of your floor. And you're going to press it down, put pressure, try to make sure the wall's not leaning too much in any direction. And there you go. You got your first wall. Alright. Looks pretty good. Now the next thing I'm going to do is build a wall with a window. And that's pretty simple. You're going to do the same thing as before. Get two straight sticks that you can use for the top and the bottom, and then we're gonna put one of them at least on the floor. Where's my pencil? And right where the wall is gonna go, and then you're gonna transfer the lines that were on the floor. So cover the whole stick there, and then put the other stick next to that. And transfer the lines onto that one. Alright, once again I finished my original square. And now the next pieces we're going to do will be the borders of the window. So I'm just going to line this piece up with my lines that I drew. Alright, now you're going to take your wall, and you should know the dimensions of your window. Mine's 1 inch off the ground and 3.5 inches from the ground for the top. So I get my ruler, and on each of the outside studs here, I'm going to measure those measurements. And so that's 1 inch and then 3.5 inches. And then same here, 1 inch, 3.5 inches. And now we have the window measured on there. We're going to cut the bottom and top plates for the window. Now I'm going to cut one end, and then I'll put it here and measure, and then cut it, and then it should fit. Again, these pieces that I'm cutting now, the top and the bottom of your window, should be tight but not too tight, because if they're too tight, it'll push the edges of the window out. Like, these sticks bend, so if it's too tight, it'll push them out. Now when you glue this right here where my fingers are is going to be the part of the window that you can see. Up here you won't be able to see this. Alright, so don't put any glue in the part that you can see. Put the glue up here, because it'll be hidden. Right? If you look on this house, I don't have any glue like right here. It's inside there where we can't see it. Alright, now we've got the top and the bottom. So now we're going to do what are called the cripples. And it's the little tiny sticks that go on top of and below the window. Alright, and then once you're done, flip on over to the back and just glue everything twice here. And then you're done with the window. If you want to make a door, it's the same thing, except you just don't do one of them. But there is a difference with the door, the bottom of it, and I'll show you that when I get to the door. Alright, so I'll see you then. Right now I'm going to quickly explain to you how to make a wall that's longer than 4.5 inches, because that's the length of one stick. So I have a wall that's going to go right here. It's going to start here and it's going to end here, and there's going to be 2 windows in it. Now you could easily make it as 2 separate walls and then just put them together. You know, just put a wall up here, put a wall up here, and then you're done. But we're going to make this wall as just one wall, and so I'll show you how to do that. Basically, framing the wall is exactly the same as framing any other wall. The only difference is the top and the bottom plate. The actual top of the wall and the bottom of the wall, because they're longer than one stick. So what you're going to do is get one stick, a straight one obviously, and you're going to put it down. Now we're going to figure out how long this needs to be. So first of all, I'm going to cut off the end of it so it's flat. And then I'm going to cut off the end of the other one so it's flat. But anyway, you're going to get your 2 pieces. So this is how long our entire bottom plate is going to be. You're going to have to do this twice, obviously. Then you're going to need to find something straight. So I'm going to use the yardstick. And you're going to put both pieces up against it so that they're straight. Make sure they're flat as well. And then you're going to get something, a longer stick, like maybe this long. It doesn't need to be super long. But make sure it's straight. And then you're going to cover this with glue, and you're going to put it right in the middle over the seam. And it's going to end up gluing these pieces together so that they're nice and straight. And then when you're done, you'll have a big long bottom plate. And then you do it again, and then you'll have a big long top plate, and then you just frame the wall like normal. One thing you're going to want to take note of when framing any wall, really, but especially long ones, is that first you're going to want to do the outside pieces, is what I find most helpful, or whatever. But when you get to the inside pieces, you're probably going to want to do the ones in the center first, rather than working from like left to right or right to left. I would do at least one of the center ones first, and then just fill in the rest. But if I were to put this piece here, there's a gap between the bottom of it and the bottom plate. And that is not because the stick is too short, it's because this stick on the bottom is so long that it's a little bit bent. And so what you're going to do is put glue here and put glue here, but as the glue is drying, you're going to want to hold it like this. You're going to want to push that wall in a little bit. And alright, so now I'm going to quickly show you how to do a door. Basically, you're going to frame the door just like a window, except you're not going to do the bottom part, just like I did here. And then you're going to kind of put it where it needs to go, and just kind of figure out how it sits there. I see both sides go straight up against those walls, so I'm going to just keep that in my mind. And then I'm going to get my cutters, if I could find them. I don't know where they went. Here they are. And you're going to cut out this bottom part before you glue it down. So cut that. Now you're going to take your wall and you're going to glue it down one side at a time. Alright, one side at a time. Do the first one. Get it glued down. And then the other side should be free. Now I know that the side of this wall goes right up against the other wall, and so I'm good there. I could just glue this right down. But if we didn't know that, you could put this piece here just like how it was, and then you'll know exactly how wide the door should be. And then just take it out when you're done gluing it. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue this one. Now, a really important part that you cannot skip, and it's something I've never done before. What I would do in the past is, see how these walls are separate from each other? They're not attached at the tops. That's not good. They need to be attached at the tops. So what I used to do is I would take little pieces, I would hold the walls how they need to be, I would put glue on this piece, and I would stick it right there, and they would be glued down. But there's not going to be a second story here, and the roof trusses are going to come straight down on top of these walls, and so it needs to be completely level on top of these walls. There can't be just random bumps in the top of the wall. And so what I'm going to do is what's called a double top plate, and they do it in real life, and so I'm going to show you how to do that. Basically, you're just going to cut a piece, and you're just going to glue sticks all around the top, making sure that the bottom of the wall looks just like the top of the wall. So see how they adjoin together, touching each other like that? That's how the top is going to look. And so make sure the top is exactly the same as the bottom. Right here, this wall is indented in a little bit from the wall with the doorway, so that's how the top is going to look. It's going to be indented a little bit. Not like that, but like that. So it's going to look exactly the same on the top as it does on the bottom. Now when you do the double top plate, you're just going to glue these down nice and flat. But the thing you want to make sure of is that you go over all the seams. So where two walls come together, two top plates should not come together. They should go over and hold them together. And so for a corner like this, the top plate shouldn't end there. It should end like this, so that it overlaps the seam. You see what I mean? got to overlap the seam. So that's what's going to hold the tops of the walls together. Alright, so I went ahead and I did the double top plate, and as you can see, it's pretty sturdy now. Everything's pretty much held together. If you look down the straight side on that wall, it's nice and straight, same as with the bottom. And there are no studs bumping out of that wall or anything. So this is going to be a perfectly straight wall. It's going to be very easy to do the siding on that. Same as with all the other walls pretty much. They all came out very nice. It looks like that came out really nice, 90-degree angles. Pretty happy with the way that came out. This thing's starting to get a little bit heavy. It's starting to go bulky here. And the next thing we're going to do is put a beam here, because there's going to be a solid roof like this, an A-frame roof just like that one right there, just like this, right, across the entire thing. And it's going to continue to the edge here. And so the edge of the roof is going to go here, here, and it's going to continue to here. But there's going to be nothing supporting it here. There's no wall here. So we need to put a beam here and a beam here. And in order to put beams, we need to put something to support it. And it needs to be supported right here. And so we will be doing that next.